By train, I'm pretty sure by train it's done.
Прошу всі з вінками стати ззаду священників і владиків. Прошу.
Благослови, владико, благословений Бог наш, завжди нині повсякчас і на віки вічні. Святий Боже, святий кріпкий, святий безсмертний, помилуй нас.
Нині повсякчас і на віки вічні. Амінь. Господи, помилуй, Господи, помилуй, Господи, помилуй. Владико,
Санта Тролю так. Центральна шкільна рада. Пані Ориша Стефан. Краєва управа Сум Марко Ткачук. Від осередку Сум, Канберри, Квінбієн, Ніна і Надя Тіджора. Від Союзу Українок Австралійська. Краєва пластова старшина Галя Іщенська. Від Організації українських націоналістів Річ Моравський. І Надя, перепрошую, Надя Романів. Пані Оля Мічинська, яка складає вінок в ім'я її мами, яка пережила Голодомор. Українська автокефальна церква, православна церква. Парафія святих Володимира Великого, Волингом. Осередок Сум Перед і громада Перед, пан Богдан Микитюк. Пані Катерина Кодрин. Добре.
Всесвятішніші отче Микола Сердюк, всесвятішніші отці, посол України, пан Валентин Адамайтис, Senator Gary Humphreys, Nick Manicus, representing the Chief Minister, Brendan Smith, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Steve Dospolt, Shadow Minister for Education and Training, Education, Training, Disabilities and Multicultural Affairs, to Mr. Yuri Ladun and Hanya from New Zealand, представники українських членів СУА, 1932-33. We will not forget the millions that perished. We will not change our position. Our position is a very strong position. Stalin initiated a process of genocide. Stalin committed a crime against humanity. Stalin and his regime need to be judged by humanity. It's not just a matter of Australian Ukrainians. This activity is happening throughout the world. Here, when we initiated an international candle lighting ceremony, the candles have visited over 20 different countries. The candles have also been lit in every region of Ukraine. Им память.
Тепер я попрошу до слова просвященого владику Петра.
Slava Isusu Christu. On behalf of all the Christian faithful who have gathered here today, I would like to thank all of you for coming. On behalf of all the freedom-loving Ukrainians from around the world, I would like to thank you for coming today and not forgetting, and for declaring that you are going to continue to remember. Let us remember that it is only in faith that God will help us to heal from these very horrific memories.
Colleagues from the Assembly, Steve Dosbot and Brendan Smith, Nick Manicus, Stefan Romanev, ladies and gentlemen, particularly those of you who are visitors to our national capital to mark this important occasion here in Canberra. As our previous speakers have indicated, it is vitally important that the lives of 10 million people not be lost without their memory serving some purpose. And the purpose of those lost lives to us today in the 21st century ought to be to ensure that such experiences never occur again. I'm so pleased to note that today Ukraine has achieved this independence, and the wish of Stalin to suppress the independence of the Ukrainian people has failed, and today there are millions of Ukrainians here and around the world to bear testament to the horror of that artificial famine of 1932-33 and ensure that the lessons of that period are not lost on the people of the 21st century. Thank you.
A very dark period for the people of the Ukraine. The Chief Minister has asked me to say a few words on his behalf as he could not be with us this morning due to a long-standing commitment. As we've already heard today, the famine of 32-33 was a crime against humanity perpetrated by the Stalin regime. It was planned and executed by the then Soviet regime through the removal of all the grain products from the Ukraine to sell for cash. And we've heard today that Stalin set out to suppress Ukraine's independence movement by starving Ukrainians to death in the country, then known as the breadbasket of Europe.
The opposition.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The problem for the world is that when we don't know the true story of what happened in the Ukraine in 1932-33, we are damned to have it happen to us again. And if you look at the tragedies of places like Rwanda, the tragedies of the Sudan, and the myriad of countries that have suffered such forced genocides, the lesson is not being learned. And that is why it is important that on days like today, we remember what happened. My father is Irish, and everybody knows about the Great Potato Famine. But what they don't know is that Ireland at that time continued to produce enough wheat and barley to have fed the Irish population. Instead, that wheat and barley was exported for
Noshbot, Member of Legislative Assembly, Shadow Minister for Education, Training, Disability and Multicultural Affairs.
Most Reverend Bishop Peter Stasiuk, Most Reverend Father Mykola Sodiuk, Ambassador of the Ukraine, His Excellency Valentin Adamaitis, Senator Gary Humphreys, Nick Marnicus, Director of the Office of Multicultural Affairs, representing the Chief Minister, Mr Brendan Smith, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Mr Stefan Romanov, OAM Chairman of the Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organisations. Ladies and gentlemen, Dobre Den. In my capacity as Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our visitors from interstate representing the 22 Ukrainian Australian associations around the country, as well as the many members of our ACT Ukrainian community, amongst whom I am proud to have some friends of long standing as we join here together to commemorate the Holodomor of 1932-1933. Some of you may be aware that through my background of being a Hungarian refugee from the brutal Russian communist regime of Khrushchev in 1956, I do empathise with the terrible suffering of the Ukrainian nation that led to the deaths of around 7 million people in the Ukraine under communism and Joseph Stalin. And I
First of all, our clergy for being here today, making the effort to come from various states. And I would especially like to thank all of the speakers who spoke, members of Parliament, representatives of the Chief Minister, Senator Humphreys, Stefan Romanil, and asked them to continue to support us in our fight for the recognition of Ukraine as a genocide. Thank you.